Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of Tunnel Vision, a show brought to you by USCFootball.com. We've got a big crew coming at you live today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Of course, I got Chris Trevino next to me. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. We got Jack running the board again. Jack Smith is intern, doing a great job so far. Second week in a row doing Tunnel Vision. Thanks, Jack.
Of course. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we got Shotgun joining us remotely, but we got a very special guest. Just set this up at the last minute. Michael Jones, he's the CEO of Stay Doubted. He wants to come on because this evening, USC announced and Boulevard announced the official launch and a lot of cool stuff. 4 multimedia shows, membership tiers that you can sign up and contribute to Boulevard, so money will go to the student athletes. So we're going to welcome Michael Jones in. Michael, thanks for coming on, man. We got him. Some connections with Michael.
Yeah, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay. Well, we had Michael on. Let's see. So let's try. So is he popping up on the screen there?
Video's there, and there's nothing. He's kind of paused and
He's
not hearing anything.
He's frozen. All right, cool. Well, perfect. This is a great way to start things. But anyway, just want to let people know what's going on. We'll try to get Michael back on there. What he was going to talk about, and hopefully we'll still get a chance to talk about, we got this official word today that Boulevard was launching. There are some cool, as far as shows and things that involve student athletes, where they would be going live, doing different kind of shows about there's tacos, there's video games, stuff like that. So it's a way to kind of showcase student athletes, get to know them more behind the scenes kind of thing, and check it out that way. And so that looks cool. And then also, if you're a USC football fan or a USC athletics fan, there are membership tiers that go up to, I think it's like from $5 a month or something to like $1,000 a month. And if you want to do more, there's like the A-list stuff where it's $25,000 a year or more, and then that money will go to the student athletes. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's the launch. We were kind of waiting this for a little while. If you read the War Room over at USCFootball.com, you kind of knew this was coming up this week. But it looks pretty cool to me, Chris. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, you get the whole collective plus issue in terms of, it being a blend of both worlds. You get that kind of those, you can be a membership, you can donate money directly, and you also get the branding with the NIL, getting that brand out there, sponsorship, stuff like that. So it's a nice little marriage between the two, and you should go check out the website because a lot of good production went into showcasing these shows and kind of giving teasers of what are they going to look like, and they look pretty cool. So I'm excited to check them out, and especially a taco show with Justin Dietz. I showed Justin Dietz on a taco show. I'm in.
Signing up for that one. You mentioned the production. Yes, like they put out a 1-minute video on YouTube or on Twitter, and then you could kind of check it out. And there is definitely a high production value that's going into this. So this is the sort of thing they were sort of waiting for with the launch, and that being able to. There was we have Caleb Williams like playing video games on a couch. You kind of talking about that. I think they were playing like Madden or something. Like you mentioned the taco shows. There's a way to kind of get behind the scenes with these student athletes, and then the membership tiers. The guys from Boulevard posted on the Peristyle on our message board at USCFootball.com today that they had cut the expense ratio down to 5%, so it's apparently best in the industry. And then also the ability to dictate where your donations go. So if you wanted to donate to the football team, or say you played water polo there and you want your money to go to the water polo team, you can do all of that. So it's pretty cool what they've been able to kind of put together. And I think one of the important aspects of it, from what they were talking about, and bringing it with the notes that they put on the peristyle, is it is the official partner of USC football, USC athletics, and so they're a lot of times when you're talking about a collective, there's collectives at big universities. There's really not supposed to be any kind of association between the collective, this group of boosters that are putting money together, and the school. So, I mean, you could be talking about if they're looking at focusing on student athletes, prospects, the collective might be backing a prospect that the coaches don't necessarily want to have on the team. There's weird stuff that can go like this way with that. So the good thing about Boulevard, from what they were talking about, is that they actually are the official partner of USC athletics. So there's communication between Boulevard and Lincoln Riley
or
and
Andy
Mike
Enfield
Baum.
or anybody else
Yeah.
that they need to be in communication with. So it's a big advantage.
But that's my explanation of things. But I think we have Michael on now, so I'll let him talk about it since he's the expert on what's going on. Michael, hopefully you're there now. Is he there? Maybe not.
We've got him. I think he's pointing at his headphones.
Oh, he can't hear us or something. Interesting. All right. Well, this has gone very, very well. Do you want to pull up Shotgun for a minute? We can kind of get his thoughts on it too.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh no, we got Michael.
There. I heard something.
I can't hear you guys.
Oh, that's bad. Okay. Mike. Yeah, we can. Yeah, like I don't know, like you go ahead, Michael, and we'll just let you talk, and then.
Just hold up signage.
Yeah. Yeah, we can. I can send him like a DM or something, but. Okay, we'll do that. Yeah. Sorry, guys. There's the technical difficulties of getting the live show live. It was really like a last-minute live guest. He sent me a message like, "Hey, you want me to come on?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And we were talking fine before the show started, and then something did happen. So
When the red button comes on, everything goes haywire.
it does go haywire a little bit.
I, for one, am looking forward to being memed, so it's fine. I get memed every year, so it's fine.
This happens. Michael, are you on there? Looking. Sorry, Michael. This is
Mine. Awesome. Okay. We'll do this without audio today. And this will be the one audio, interview I've ever done. No, we're fired up today because of, we've been waiting for I'd say, since the press release to really fully launch and let the USC fan base see everything that Boulevard has to offer. We've done a lot of work in the last 60 to 90 days to prepare for this fully public launch, and we've had great support from stakeholders on the private side, but now we're ready to open it up and allow the floodgates from the public supporters of USC to come in from our membership side. So a lot has happened over the last 60 days. You're going to see this week. Every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, we are announcing a new NIL opportunity for our student athletes. As we speak right now, we have 15 to 20 offensive and defensive linemen at a NIL deal right as we speak, taking place for the big guys. It's with the steakhouse that'll be feeding the guys all season long. We have Thursday a first ever announcement coming where we'll be taking care of nearly the entire traveling party for home and away games, which you'll hear more about there. We have official partnerships and a luxury car dealer coming in. A lot has happened. We've already contracted 7 figures worth of deals for student athletes just in the next 4 months, on track to do 8 figures in 2023 for the players. So football is fully rolling. Lincoln is fired up, and as I think everybody understands, we've knew what Boulevard's potential was, and now everybody can really see what that looks like fully in the public.
If you guys let me know what questions you want me to ask, I can type them through the chat to Michael.
Yeah. We ask maybe what the feedback.
I just have Shotgun now.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, the
Shotgun,
shotgun.
is it just you? I can't hear you still, but I would imagine you're telling me that it is just you.
So we'll get that. Yeah. Well, okay, cool. So Jack's putting the questions in there. This is, we get it's like can string kind of thing going on.
What's the feedback been like? Okay. Is it just, did they drop? Did they lose connection?
can you let them know it's not just us?
Feedback's been great. To be honest with you, we didn't know we are still here. Got it. So 60 days ago, what the response would be. We had spent 9 months with Brandon Sosna, and when Lincoln arrived in December, working with Lincoln on what this would look like, we then had that press release, and we really had the chance to start to talk about it with some private stakeholders, and it's been unbelievable. Like, Lincoln's been as fired up as he has been because of the support that we have seen come in, and because of that, we are on track to, in just 4 months this fall, we will contract more than majority of the NIL collectives that you see out there for our student athletes. So we're competing toe in toe with every single other entity in the country. That's what we anticipated that we would do. That's what we're going to do. I don't think that USC will not top the list when it comes to 2023, and we have a full fiscal year underneath us in terms of what we're doing for our student athletes. So we made it announced today that every single football player will be compensated, and we're working through what that actual figure will be. But, those numbers are going to be significant. And then for the top guys that have big marketability, you're looking at high six-figure commitments that we're making to these student athletes. So we're not just concentrated on, making sure that everybody has – we want to make sure that the top guys feel taken care of. Of the players opted in, so nearly the entire football roster has opted in. Every single kid that's opting in will see a high, 5-figure investment into their marketability and NIL opportunities this fall and into spring.
Jack, if you want to ask him one more, just let him know. Last one. Just talk about the multimedia shows, the web shows.
It in the chat and how I answer questions today. I like this.
Yeah. Just ask about the web shows, because I want to get him into that. Yeah. Thanks, Jack.
What are the shows going to be? So we have 4 shows releasing. Our first one comes tomorrow. I'll give you guys an insider peek. It's going to be with Caleb Williams. It's a video game show called Run It Back. So we paired up Sydney Goodman, who also is a former USC cheerleader, song girl, and she is actually playing video games with Caleb Williams and just expanding their audiences into new areas. As funny as it sounds, Caleb is, a big name in sports, but in gaming, he is not. So this is an opportunity for him to expand his audience, expand his brand, and that's a big part of it, right? So you're seeing both sides of Boulevard function through these series. We paid Caleb to be in the video, so he was compensated well to be in the video. And then on top of that, you'll notice that there's brands inside the video, and we are selling sponsorships into that video. So he's bringing in additional revenue from that side as well. So in a lot of the NIL world, their only component is on this side, and we are compensating student athletes just as competitively on this side, but we're also bringing in additional revenue from national sponsors on top of that. So for Caleb Williams of the world, he could do that without Boulevard. If you don't have to put Caleb Williams in a Boulevard piece of content for him to be able to sell, but for somebody that isn't as marketable, they can actually go into a Boulevard ecosystem where they are much more sellable to a national ecosystem. So that is something that we're really excited about. So you have video games, we have a food series for the big guys that's going to be really fun. It's taco based, going around some of the best taco joints in Los Angeles. We have a fashion based one. We saw the teaser with Mario Williams. He's in that one. And then we have a fourth one that is more music based, where they talk about some of the different music that they enjoy to listen to. And There's a strategic headphone company that we made sure was involved there.
All right. Well, Michael Jones, CEO of Stay Doubted, thanks for
Awesome.
joining us.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me. This was the most unique experience I've had from an interview standpoint. But again, I just want to say this to everybody. We've listened, we've heard the feedback, we understand, and we're going to continue to adapt, get stronger. But the support that everyone has shown, and we've watched since it's come in, we're already past 6 figures in donations in the last 2 hours. So that just tells you how powerful the USC community is, that we went live to the general public and we're already into 6 figures. And we have 7 figures plus in private donations, almost 8 there. So USC is alive and well, and welcome to the NIL era where we can go win national championships.
All right. Michael Jones, CEO of Stay Doubted. Thanks for joining us, man. Thank you. Sorry about this, but that's it's good. At least we got, it was good. You can so thanks, Jack was handling all that stuff behind the second day on the job. He's doing this. So
that felt like that scene in The Martian where they're trying to communicate with him on Mars and they can't talk to each other. That's what that felt like.
It did feel a little like that. We were literally talking to him the whole time before, like for 15 minutes before the show started, and then things kind of went haywire a little bit. Do we still have Shotgun there?
We still have Shotgun.
We can't get rid of him. We can't get rid of him.
Yeah, that's good.
Unfortunately, we can't get rid of him.
Can he not hear either?
No, I got you.
Okay. I'm like, what's going on here, man? This is crazy. Like, we, put stuff together last minute, so we do apologize. There's a lot going on, but it was good to hear from him. Shotgun, any thoughts on what Michael Jones had to say?
Not necessarily just what he had to say, but from reading the release and everything, I think one of the big figures is that 5%. They're only taking 5% overhead from the players. Because if you guys noticed earlier this week, UCLA's players were putting out that they're coming out with a Westwood NIL club. This is the same company that has put this together. I'm blanking on the name off the top of my head right now, but has multiple of these around the country. There's a Fayetteville one for Arkansas. There's a Tempe one for Arizona State. They are taking 18% cut.
Wow.
From the players. So just to compare that number is striking to me, 5% versus 18% there. And the fact that, that they did hear Mike talking about how they listened to the feedback and how your money will now go to one sport if that's what you want it to go towards. And, just some of the things, the adjustments they made. And again, this is something that is going to be a work in progress everywhere, the NIL just sphere, because the NCAA has been like, we don't have any control over this. You guys do what you want. And so because of that, there's just so many different ways that this can go about. And I think that's why you're seeing so many schools go in different ways about it. And, the way that USC is going about this, I think it's interesting, not only that they're getting paid for the appearance fee, for Caleb Williams, but also the product placement potential there. There'll be an Aquafina bottle or whatever in the video. And this is what you see a lot of times in music videos and movies as well. This is a way that makes a lot more money on the side that is not an active, hey, I'm drinking Gatorade or whatever. But the fact that there's a Gatorade bottle in the corner of the scene, makes a ton of money for these creative. And then also, you talked about, Ryan, the production value of that 1-minute clip. Getting our man Will Stout back involved.
Yeah.
Who was with the team in 2020. He came over from LSU, did some really cool things with USC. He was back involved in this video, so just to see him back over there, doing some things with USC again was really cool as well.
Yeah, so it's good. I mean, again, apologize for the technical difficulties, but I'm glad you got to hear from him. The announcement just came a couple hours ago. Like he was saying, they've already got a bunch of donations. They were the whole crew over there at Boulevard were nice enough to post on the peristyle, so you got a heads up if you're a USCFootball.com member. They're telling you what's going on there, and then of course him willing to jump on the show here. I think he's Central Time, I think, where he is in Texas. So that was nice of him to come on. I know it's late there. Any other thoughts, Chris, before we kind of move on?
Yeah, where's my appearance fee?
Do you get an appearance fee?
I'm asking you. Where's me and Shotgun's appearance fee?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good point.
But in all seriousness, my standout from the press release was that 33% has gone to the offensive line and defensive line.
Not bad.
Not bad for a team that needs to get back to building the trenches. So I think that's a figure and a number that a lot of USC fans like to see.
Yeah.
But the big men are getting paid.
No, big men getting paid. That's a good thing. All right. We kind of start the show go ahead. Go ahead, Shotty.
I thought the numbers he just threw out at the very end there, that in 2 hours, what they've already raised, I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
Yeah.
Credit, we can't verify all those numbers and what that 6-figure looks like, how close it is to 7 or whatnot. But just to see that there is a response, I think it is really interesting. And hey, maybe we can try to get him on later in the week or something to, be able to get a true interview instead of a holding up signs trying to, pass go on Monopoly board here or something.
Both him and Spencer Harris have come on the show before, like when the press release first came out. So we'll definitely have him on, maybe on a podcast form. It'd be a lot of fun to do something like that. But this was breaking news for tonight, so that was nice that he offered to come on the show. Didn't expect to have him on right away. So we didn't really get to start the show. Let's kind of like reset things. Jack, if you want to put up the 4-shot, if we got that one there. So Jack is back and handled all that stuff expertly, even though it's only secondary. So thanks, Jack, for doing that. How was your first week of school, man?
It was good. You guys last week were telling me that I had to have an 8 a.m. class, and I was telling you guys about how great 10 a.m. classes were, and I had to drop my 10 a.m. class. I've got 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and Wednesday morning.
He jinxed himself.
At least I'm going to go back right after this podcast episode, go right to sleep, and have to wake up pretty early for Spanish 3 tomorrow morning.
Nice.
But first week was not all that bad.
So we're keeping up on a school night again. But just to let you guys know, we will be doing 2 shows a week going forward. We're going to do a Thursday night tunnel vision that'll probably be a mix between Shotgun here with me when he comes into town, and then RJ Abadia, who came on before. Chris has got a lot of stuff going on, so we probably, unless Chris really wants to, he won't be a part of the Thursday show. He does not. So we're going to do.
I just want to go on record.
He doesn't want to do it. Like he's in here a lot. He's got to do the 3-hour podcast with Gerard, which takes a lot of time and stuff too. But we have the Wednesday practice, and then he comes in on Wednesday night. So we're gonna give Chris the Thursday night off, but we will have a Thursday night show, 7 p.m., same sort of thing, and then our Sunday show, which will be a recap show of everything that's going on with the football team, what happened in the game. Of course, Rice is this weekend, 3 p.m. kick, Pac-12 Network. We are going to have a USCFootball.com tailgate party, so that's going to be fun. So I'll give you the details over at USCFootball.com, but it'll be one of the museum parking lots. We got our boy Dano doing the grill again, if you remember him from back in the day. Trader Joe's providing all kinds of snacks.
We'll have a bake-off.
We're going to do a bake-off. I keep forgetting about that.
We're going to have a bake-off. Mine will be the good ones. It'll be a blind taste test where you vote, and I think we're going to do some giveaways.
We're going to do some giveaways.
Yeah, so
it'll be fun.
Vote for me.
Yeah, we're going to have we'll have like a massage table there. So like there's a massage company that's going to come out, and they'll do free like 10-minute massages. That'll be cool. We'll put up drinks and everything like that. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's free. Just come on out if you're going to be going to the Rice game. It's a great way to kind of meet people from the site, the people that you talk with or whatever from the show or on the site, wherever. So make sure you guys check out. We'll put more stuff on our Twitter accounts and on USCFootball.com in the next couple of days to give you like exact locations and all that kind of stuff. But probably start around like 11 a.m. to noon. And then, we have to go to the game, so we're not going to be there. Like don't show up at 2:50 and think that you're going to see us. We're going to be long gone by then. So get there early, and you'll be able to hang out with some of the USCFootball.com staff. All right, but they also have some breaking news. I'm sorry, do you have something, Shotty?
We'll make sure that Chris comes and that doesn't just hide in the
Well,
corner.
he
has to because of the bake-off.
I have to be there for the bake. I'm legally required to be there for the bake-off.
You think he wouldn't just drop off the food and then just duck out? Come on.
Yeah. So whoever's there, we're going to let you be judges for the bake-off. Bless you, sir. We'll let you try the.
I was surprised that wasn't just a fake sneeze and him taking off running to get out of
He was
the
like,
show,
"Woo,
so.
bye-bye." But there are also some big news. It was supposed to be like the headline of the show, but we had some other news that happened like more recently. USC picks up a big commit, a 4-star commit, one of the top players in Arizona, big wide receiver. Chris, do you want to take that one away?
Jacoby Lane out of Red Mountain, Arizona area, 6'4", 175 pounds. The third wide receiver commitment for Lincoln Riley in this class. Significant because USC, in the last couple months had been shopping for a big-bodied receiver to kind of go with those smaller guys like a Mekhi Lemon and a 5'9", but fast as the wind, Zachariah Branch. You need some size. And if you look at this USC wide receiving core, not a ton of size with Drake London off to the NFL, obviously. Shout out to Shotgun and the Falcons. But USC, they wanted that big body receiver. There have been a couple offers out. Orlando Greenlow over at Lawndale is kind of a big 6'5" basketball type player. But here, Jacoby Lane decides to go ahead and make that commitment on Saturday. Kind of a little bit of a surprise one, but on paper, this is a recruiting team that is not they're not going to struggle to pull in skilled position players. So, they snatched Lane away from Oregon. Oregon had all crystal ball predictions in. Oregon was actually his dream school growing up and a school he almost went ahead and committed to. But here he comes to the Trojans, boost that class up a little bit, still number 13 in the country, but 17 commits. And it's just another big weapon for Lincoln Riley and this offense for next season. And he's a big boy. He's springy. He's athletic, kind of long. Watch his highlights. He's leaping over dudes, making one-handed catches in the back of the end zone. He's kind of that dynamic athlete that you want to throw the ball up to in the red zone, in the end zone.
Yeah, but big commitment. It was Friday, I think that was.
Saturday.
It was on Saturday? Okay. Yeah, I was coming back from San Diego, and then, stuff's blowing up. Big news coming out of that. Shoddy, any thoughts on USC's new wide receiver commit?
I mean, I think it's important when you're building a wide receiver room, you're building a team, you're building a coaching staff. You want diversity. And I've talked about this in the past, but the fact that you're going out and getting a big body guy, because that was one of the things I was a little bit concerned about, because all the guys that Lincoln Riley's bringing in are some of these small jitterbug type of guys that can really make guys miss, but you also want that guy that can win you that jump ball on the outside at times too, depending on the coverages that you're going to be getting against the team. If they want to load up the box and go one-on-one on the outside, you want a guy that can go up and make the Drake London style catch. And hey, maybe sometimes that's going to be your tight end, but you want a wide receiver that can do it as well. And I like the fact that you're mixing up the wide receiver room, just the different skill sets that you have there with Jacoby Lane. This is a kid who's got to put on some weight before he's going to be a guy that can make an impact at the D1 level because he's super skinny right now, but has the athleticism, showed out in this spring during the 7-on-7 circuit during the evaluation period, and really kind of exploded on the scene a little bit right there. We're going to try to go see him next weekend. We'll see if we can make that happen because his team is playing out in San Diego with some other kids. Deuce Robinson's playing down in the San Diego area. So we're going to see if we can see some of these Arizona boys when they make their trip down to Southern California here. But, just another big body guy, big body weapon, and a different style of weapon, which is what you want to do. Just continue to stack playmakers on top of playmakers.
Yeah. All right. So big commitment there, big announcement from Boulevard, and then, of course, a big game, a big season, big anticipation, USC versus Rice this coming weekend. We want to see what the heck this Lincoln Riley era is going to look like. Is Rice going to be a good test? No, but you definitely want to unveil this kind of like shiny new toy. You want to play with it, You want to see what's going on. We want to see what the offense looks like.
Not a good test, but a great opener.
It is a great opener.
It's a great punching bag team, if you will.
Yeah. Shoddy will be out here. That'll be good.
One of the bottom teams in the Division I FBS ranks right now. They've just turned over their head coach, if I remember correctly. So just a lot of things that are working in the favor of USC to go in there and to be able to get reps for guys.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a first year in the offense, first year in the defense for 99% of the players on this team, outside of Caleb Williams, Mario Williams, and McCutcheon. There's only 3 guys that have experience in this system. So this is a great opportunity to get a ton of reps for different guys too. And if I was USC, I'd run some tempo at least early, so you get even more reps potentially in there. As long as you're able to run those and get done what you want to do when you're running some tempo, just so you can get some extra plays in there, knowing that, hey, Caleb Williams may only play a half, maybe play 3/4. If things are going right, and you want to get some other guys in there. So if you can put up 50 plays in the first half on the offensive side, then I would try to do that as much as possible, just so you're getting those guys those reps, but then you can also get your twos in there when the game potentially gets out of hand.
Shotgun, take it or leave it. The starters will not be in the second half.
That's kind of an iffy one because I don't think all the starters will be in, but some of the starters still will be in.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think by like late third quarter, they're out. Now, you've seen USC do openers in the past where it's like a 24-17 against a team that's not that good, and you're like, uh-oh, this is probably a problem. If that happens against Rice and it's like 24-17, major problem. Rethink everything you think about the season. I don't want to overreact, but I would overreact to something like that. But I'm not expecting that. I think you're going to see a lot of points being scored. I think you're going to see an aggressive defense. They'll probably force a bunch of turnovers, make some big plays. People are going to be having a lot of fun. Maybe the student section's gone by the middle of the third quarter, not because of the game stunk, just because it's a blowout and they're just excited.
They want to celebrate with the team afterwards, I think.
Yeah, a lot of students are like, okay, we're going to beat that kind of Rice. I think it's as quickly as you're going to get back. I'm curious to see what the attendance is. Just to talk to some people at USC about that. I know we've had questions on that before. I was told season ticket sales are above where they expected, so that's good considering they knew who Lincoln. When Lincoln Riley was coming in there, they sold like some mini game packages and stuff that they were doing really well. So they seem pretty optimistic as far as the ticket sales stuff. We've seen the fan enthusiasm just through our website, through the number of people that would watch these shows or listen to our podcast. So many people have come back, that were kind of checked out. So I'm curious to see what the atmosphere is like, not just what the team looks like, but I think, we're going to have a tailgate. Tailgating should be better. I think people are excited for that. And then getting into the stadium, you're going to get 70,000 people there. That'd be awesome. I'm guessing like 68. I think. I don't know what you guys.
I went 70.
You went 70.
I think we were talking about a podcast, and I just went 70. I said, screw it, let's just go 70.
Shoddy, Jack, what do you guys think?
I'm going to go 85% capacity because that's my birth year. I don't even know what number that would equate to, but I don't know attendance numbers. I don't ever.
Someone crunch the numbers.
I get zoned in and don't even pay attention to everything around me. Keeley can tell you this best that I don't hear the band. I don't do all that. Once the game starts going, I don't really pay attention.
Are you saying you get tunnel vision?
Ooh, I see what you did there, and you could go with that.
All right, you're saying 65,000 because it's
okay.
About that 66,000 maybe is what you're saying if you're
All
saying
right.
85%. So, what about you, Jack? What do you think?
I'm not going to give you a full number, but I'll give you 100% packed student section at the start of the game. Hopefully, it is cleared out in the second half, not because it's not a great game, but because the fans know that it's going to be over by the time that the team comes out of the tunnel for the second half. But I think students are going to be really excited. Everyone that I've talked to around campus is hyped to see the start of the Lincoln Riley era. I think there are going to be great things to come, and it's going to start this week against Rice.
Nice.
What will be the painted phrase on the shirt on the guys with the?
Oh yeah,
Will it be
Trojan,
Lincoln?
the Trojan
Will it
Knights.
be Lincoln? Will it be Caleb? What will it be?
I do know some people in the Trojan Knights, but I think that is a very top secret stuff that they don't reveal until the first day. But I know they're searching for new members. If there are students out there that want to go join the Trojan Knights, maybe have some influence on what to put across the chest. But I don't think that they're going to announce that before the game.
Nice. All right.
I think you have to start with Lincoln Riley. I think game one, you start with
feels
Lincoln
like
Riley, and then go off of whoever has the big performances after that.
Yeah, I like that. Good stuff there. All right. Well, so we're going to do a preview of Rice. I didn't really have any other topics. We could just start jumping into questions unless you got something else you want to talk about, Chris, or what you look.
What do I?
First, real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick, people are asking about my West Virginia hat. Obviously, I don't know if I guess people aren't keyed in, but it's a big game on. Was it Thursday, I believe?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
A big USC game. USC quarterback versus USC quarterback and USC coordinator. All formers, of course.
The Graham Harrell Bowl.
You got the Graham Harrell Bowl going with Graham Harrell and JT Daniels facing off against Keaton Slovis and the guy who wanted to talk crap about Jordan Addison all off season. So I do have a Pitt hat as well. I got both sides of the backyard brawl. And also this rivalry coming back is great. I don't know if you guys know anything about this rivalry in the past. It used to be really, really good in the Dan Marino days and whatnot. Ryan could tell you a little bit about that, being from Western PA. But this is going to be a really fun matchup, and I think all USC fans will be paying attention. So I'm just going ahead and putting out, who I will be rooting for in this game and who I think will win. I'm going to give it to JT Daniels in this one.
That's on Thursday?
I believe that is on Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday
wow.
or
Well, I'll be
Friday
off,
is
so
before.
it's looking great for me.
You'll
I'm
go
off,
beyond.
so I get to
So we
make
might be
some-
watching this while we're doing our preview show of Rice because there's a lot of USC X's in there. We're going to check that out. Apparently, Ole Miss hasn't made a decision on their USC X. Jackson Dart and Luke Altmaier, I think they're still battling it out. So Lane Kiffin still hasn't made a decision there, but Jackson Dart in the running to be the starter. At least the last I checked.
If you remember Lane Kiffin in 2011, I believe it was, or maybe it was 2012, infamously went with Max Wittick and Cody Kessler.
Yes.
Went back and forth with those two guys, and it did not work out great there. So we'll see if they'll make an arrangement. I got to ask you guys, what is your thoughts on Jim Harbaugh naming QB1 for Game 1 and QB2 for Game 2?
If you have two QBs, you got no QBs, as they like to say.
Yeah, his comments have been weird. Like when he was talking about
it's Jim Harbaugh.
It's going to be really hard to beat out, and I forget who he said it about both quarterbacks, but it's also going to be really hard to beat out. Like, well, that's you're both dudes, I don't know. Yeah,
that's Cade McNamara and JJ McCarty. Both of those guys played last year too, so it's not like it's a new dilemma. It's the same thing where Cade McNamara was a starter, but JJ McCarty would come in and spell him. So they're just really weird. And I mean, I guess it's what you expect from Jim Harbaugh, but it kind of shows you that coaches will go back to what they've done before. If you're a really weird coach and you do weird stuff, you're going to do it again. If you're Lane Kiffin, if you've had quarterback issues in the past, how many coaches learn from their mistakes? And we'll see when USC takes the field, if Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch, if they learn from their mistakes that they had at Oklahoma as well. Look at that tie-in. Come on, guys.
I like it. That's awesome,
That's
Shotgun.
why you're the best in the business.
When you got like Jim Harbaugh finally beats Ohio State, they make the playoff, but they didn't get any like recruiting momentum. It just doesn't seem like
because there was the whole NFL thing.
Yeah, he was like
through.
flirting with the NFL. You guys couldn't even remember when you were talking on the podcast, like who was the other playoff team? Like you could like.
Thank you for reminding me.
No problem. Yeah, Michigan is not. At least I listened to your show.
Yeah, that's good.
But so to as far as that goes, it's like they didn't. I don't feel like he's built up. I guess a lot of cachet just from making the playoff, and so you if you make a decision like this and you just won a championship, it's like all right, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't seem like he's been getting the benefit of the doubt, so I think he's going to be highly criticized for this one, which understandably.
Hot seat?
I don't think it's a hot seat. I'm just saying like you don't get a free pass. Like Jimbo Fisher wins a national championship at Florida State. He can do what he wants for quite a while. Kirby Smart wins one last year and he comes out and wants to play a middle linebacker or quarterback. You're like, all right, he won last year with a kind of an okay quarterback. Like you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't seem like Harbaugh's getting that. So we'll see what happens. But this is not a Michigan podcast. That is a weird decision. This is a USC podcast. We got a lot of USC questions, I think.
Before we get into the questions, I just want to say, obviously, college football is back, returned on Saturday.
Yes.
So. I know probably, I don't know, you're on a boat somewhere. I don't know if you're watching.
I did watch the Nebraska. I was at a bar in San Diego after we went on the boat. Nebraska versus Northwestern
in Dublin.
So that Saturday, we went on the boat Friday, Saturday morning before we came back up here. Got to watch that Nebraska bar packed. I tweeted out a little video to see like college football fans cheering, and they were winning early, and then they blew it at the end. But it's just just being there was like, oh my God, there's all these people dressed up in the same clothes, cheering for the same stuff. It just like college football was back. It's like, oh, that felt really good.
Yeah, and I just want to say, watching all the pregame coverage and obviously a lot of talking heads on Saturday before the game started, a lot of USC talk. A lot of USC, USC was getting a lot of airtime with Lincoln Riley. They're bringing up their segments on what is USC and Lincoln Riley going to go. There was a guy on the College Game Day show with the sign, Venerables over Lincoln Riley. They're taking it well or whatever. But a lot of USC popping up on national broadcasts. Obviously, Los Alamitos, Makai Lemon and Malachi Nelson were playing on ESPN2 against American Heritage. So a lot of USC love there with those guys. Los Al obviously did not have a solid effort, but Makai Lemon balled out. So a lot of love for him from the broadcast. So just a lot of USC's going on in the national broadcast.
USC is nationally relevant again without playing a game, just from what you've done in the offseason. So obviously now you got to go out and win. But people want to talk about USC. Not, it's not an afterthought because Clay Helton's running the program. Lincoln Riley's running the program. People are excited. Now you got to go out and prove it on the field because you can become irrelevant again if you start losing games you shouldn't, and things like that. But
I just wanted to share that because that was like a common thread I was noticing while watching.
Yeah, you could see
Pre-game
USC
coverage
stuff
and
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like
and
Clay Helton's on the hot seat stuff. Like,
That's the only
USC's
thing
gonna
you
be
would
good
really
stuff.
see.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing you would see.
And similarly, you have a similar energy around USC, I think, around USC fans. I think we'll see that on Saturday. But like Ryan said, that energy can dissipate really quickly. I think if you can look at Texas last year, Steve Sark comes in, a lot of hype. Everyone's talking about, how can he turn this around? What's he going to do from the Alabama days, from the Falcons? What's he going to bring? How different is he going to be as a head coach? And they recruited really well going into last season, and then they struggled. And, there's a lot of, the conversation changed. There's still plenty of Texas talk, but it was a lot different talk there. So, I think that's an important thing to note. There's a lot of conversation about USC, and there's a lot of expectations right now, actually. A lot of hype. But if you don't perform on Saturdays, then it doesn't really matter. So we'll see what this staff, this roster can do starting against Rice.
Yep. All right. Well, should we jump into some questions?
Yeah.
Do it.
What do you want to start with, Jack?
Absolutely. So we put out a little post on YouTube asking you guys for questions before the show started. That was earlier this morning. We can do that every time we've got a show, so you guys can get your questions in early. Gregory Kane was the first one on YouTube. What game out of the next 5 after Rice, he doesn't believe that Rice is a huge test, will tell us how the USC will stack up against Utah? So the ones you can choose from: Stanford, Fresno State, Oregon State, Arizona State, and Washington State.
Probably Oregon State.
Yeah, I go Oregon State because it's a road Pac-12 game. Oregon State's was undefeated in Corvallis last year. Half the
And
stadium's going to be gone.
They're a good team. Jonathan Smith's a good head coach, and he has that program in the right direction. So I would say they would probably be the first real test to set it up for Utah.
Yeah, they can push you around a little bit. Defense is suspect, so USC should be able to outscore them. But I think that you'll learn a lot. It's a road game. It's a tough team that's physical up front. How does USC look against a team like that that's sort of like a Utah light? And Utah went to Corvallis last year when they were playing well, not early on before they started Cam Rising, and lost to Oregon State when Utah was like on fire. So you could lose there for sure.
That'll be a really interesting game to see if USC can stop the run. If you remember last year, USC could not stop the run at all against Oregon State. It ran for over 250 yards, maybe over 300. I don't remember the exact number. And then they crushed USC on play action because USC couldn't stop the run. So if they can't stop the run against Oregon State, they're not going to be able to do it against Utah either. So that is a great, kind of precursor of Utah light, as you phrased it, Ryan. But don't overlook Fresno State. A little bit of a trap game there. Just the fact that you're going from Stanford, first Pac-12 game with Lincoln Riley, on the road, you come back home, you're looking forward to that Oregon State game. Fresno State is a dangerous team. I mean, some people have them in their top 25s. So don't sleep completely on them. They've got a good quarterback. So I think they're a team that could sneak up on USC if they're not paying attention.
Yeah, former Husky Jake Hayner didn't go to Washington with Kalen DeBoer, his coach. He stuck around. And
they should. Jeff Tedford.
Tedford's back.
It's not like it's a new head coach and, hey, there's a lot of ties already there. We know what Tedford can do. He's played against USC time and time again in the past. So that is a game that I've got my eye on that could be a dangerous one for USC.
Yep.
We can alternate with questions asked before the show and questions asked at the top of the stream. This one comes from Cameron on YouTube. Since the USC football offseason is officially over, how would you scale or rate the 2022 offseason on a scale of 1 to 10?
I mean,
I
don't know if it could be better. It'd have to be a 10.
I would give it
you can't go 10. Can't go 10.
Why?
You didn't get that off. You didn't get the offensive lineman that you wanted.
You didn't get that defensive lineman that you wanted.
Oh my God, 9.9. You hired Lincoln Riley. You brought in the number 1 transfer class in the country. Then you added the Bolitnikoff Award winner, and you joined the Big Ten. Like, what the hell else could you do?
Add another offensive lineman. We just said it.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a
said
huge freaking offseason.
I
can always be better, Ryan.
10 if you could get Josh Connerly.
All right, I'll go 9.5 then. If you, Josh Connerly would have made it a 10.
Elusive for them, since it's been so elusive to get their top offensive line target, it's been, I believe, 6 years now. When the 2023 class goes through, because they didn't get Francis unless he flips. 6 years without your top offensive line target every single year, and to get beat by Oregon again, I think that brings it back just a notch. Otherwise, everything has been going great, and the recruiting has really picked up in the last month or so as well. They're really closing the offseason strong. Still got a couple more days. Who knows if USC picks up another commitment there?
Yeah, they beat Oregon for like 3 recruits in a row or something right? Like it just with Lane, the same thing. He was a lot of crystal balls were on for Oregon for him, and he ends up picking USC.
Shotgun makes a great point. You did not get any of those top blue chip offensive linemen that you were trying to get, Josh Connerly, Francis Malyoga, or Lucas Simmons. If you would have got one of those guys, I would be more inclined to give it the 10, but I'll probably give it a 9.
All right.
You guys in the thread and the chat on each platform, give us your grade as well.
Ruben said 9.9, so he's
Yeah.
close. Nice.
I think between 9.5 and 9.9 is fair. I don't think you can ever go 10. You can always do better. I think we wouldn't want there to be an offseason in the future without the ability to go above this offseason.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair. Going back to the questions asked before the show, Hot Ninja JIZ from YouTube, how do our skill positions stack up against other top teams in college football? I think he was thinking Ohio State, Alabama, some of those big name teams. How do the skill positions stack up?
I think it stacks up well. The wide receiver room is really packed. Now, Ohio State probably has the best top end, 2-3 guys, but I mean, USC is really deep there. Adding the Blitnikoff Award winner is huge. I mean, we mentioned this before, but if you watched the Alamo Bowl last year, they added the 2 best players in that game, Caleb Williams and Travis Dye, and neither of them were playing for USC, obviously. One was Oklahoma, one's for Oregon. The tight end's not as deep, but I mean, there's some top end talent there. But I think the strength is going to be that wide receiver room, and then having a guy like Caleb Williams, pulling the strings, that's it's pretty impressive. I think you could, if you're talking about like a 7-on-7 thing, like USC can compete nationally, or can they compete when you're talking about with all the line play and stuff? Maybe not on the college football playoff level, but I think the skill guys are close to that.
Yeah, I think there's an argument that their wide receiver room is the best in the country. I know you're looking at Ohio State as that other contender. Jackson Smith is just so good. He's like considered the number 1 wide receiver in the country, and I think that carries a lot of their room. Alabama's reloading a little bit with their skill players, so I would say USC is the number 1 contender to Ohio State in that room. But if we're talking about like overall skill in terms of wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs, I would say USC is definitely top 5. You put it all together against all other programs in the country.
Yeah, not bad.
Offensive skill players, I would say that. Defensive skill players, if we're adding those in too, it gets a little bit more. I think USC's deep. They don't have that top end guys that have proven themselves quite yet.
All right.
Now, another question that came early on in the stream from Jaime on YouTube. What are our thoughts on Oregon initiating talks about joining the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, it's like through back channels, and there's no reason Oregon or anyone. I mean, you got to open up some lines of communication. My gut is still that the Big Ten's not going to expand more. There's a lot of thought of this, just everything kind of calming down, and this is the way things are going to be. But the Big Ten came out with their massive media rights deal, and they're also, they're in battles with the other conferences too, and ESPN, what they do. I think they want to keep everyone on their toes, so I think they're not going to shut all the doors as far as expansion goes. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense to expand unless you're going to add a Notre Dame. So I don't think anything's going to come of this in the next, in the next year or whatever. But according to some of the reports I read, if Notre Dame is added, there's already language in the media rights deal to say how much, what percentage that media rights deal would go up. There's not specific numbers, but there's, then it opens things up. Like if you added Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten, there aren't specific numbers in the contract already, but they were for Notre Dame. So that tells me they would add Notre Dame in this offseason, but I don't think they would add anyone else. It's conference realignment. Anything can happen, but my guess is you're not going to see Oregon, Washington going to the Big Ten. And that's, if the Big Ten called, both schools would jump at the opportunity to go. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I've had people reach out to me from Oregon, Oregon fans and people that work at Oregon, And my response was, I don't know, and I don't really care. It'll eventually get settled, and I can't invest any more time into conference realignment. I know where USC is going. I'm just focused on getting ready for the season to get open. I'm hyped, ready to see some action.
Yes, 100%.
I agree. Blessum Breaks on YouTube before the show. He thinks that, asking, I guess, isn't being ranked 14th in the AP too high? So I guess trying to gauge our opinion on whether USC is too highly ranked in the Associated Press poll going into the year.
I'm on record of saying I think it's a little too high. I think like around 16, 15 would probably be the highest, 17, that range. But I understand why they're 14, and it's not like I think it's an egregiously too high spot, but I'm just saying I think it's a little bit too high. That's my argument.
I don't think there's much difference between 14 and 15. It's in that range. Like if you feel this is a team that's going to finish 9-3, which I think they will, that's probably around where they'd be ranked. That's where I'm predicting. So it makes sense to me. But they, like we said, they got to perform on the field. We just feel like that's the potential for this team, but with upside. This could be a top, 6-7 team. We don't know. But there would be, you go on the road and beat an Oregon State, or maybe come close against Utah, but you beat UCLA and you beat Notre Dame, like things like that. Then this could be a top 6, top 7 kind of team, or maybe higher, who knows. But I think 9-3 is probably the good target. It's a big improvement, and you would end up somewhere around there. So I don't have an issue with it.
Another question, Brandon from YouTube. When do you think we will know the captains, and who do you think that they will be?
Oh. Do you remember?
I feel like that should be an announcement this week. Usually they make an announcement you're not waiting until game day. So whether that is on Thursday when Lincoln Riley speaks to the media, Thursday morning, or on Tuesday when he speaks, I would expect captains to be named this week at some point. I think the obvious ones are going to be Caleb Williams and Shane Lee.
Yep.
There's a reason why they're at media day. They've been mentioned by everybody. The real question is, who's going to be after that? We discussed that. It was last week or 2 weeks ago. There's a lot of candidates. And even I thought it was interesting, Lincoln Riley said this week on Thursday, he said, we don't have a lack of leaders. He said, we have a ton of leaders. He said they've got to figure out who's going to be that next group to step up going in the future. But he said they have a ton of guys, and he mentioned everyone from Alex Stadhouse and Miller Moss on down the list to Justin Dedich and some other guys that maybe haven't been those forefront guys in the past, but just a number of guys that have stepped up this offseason and have really been leaders as well. I just think they got a ton of guys that are bought in, and I think that means everyone's kind of going in the right direction, and there's just a couple of guys that are out front right now. Who's after Caleb Williams and Shane Lee could be anyone, I think.
I would guess Tuli Tuipulotu and Andrew Voorhees. Those would be my guesses.
Yeah, it could be Brett Nealon too, but I think it would be Voorhees. And I think with Tuli, as far as like star power goes, like Caleb Williams, Kalen Bullock is a younger guy. I don't know. He could potentially be someone like that, but I was going to go with Tuli just because when we talked to him recently, he just seemed very more statesman-like. He's like, more like, hey, you're going to be a captain. You got to step up and speak. It sounds like that's what's going on. So just the way that he's done the interviews, really, I'm kind of leaning towards what Chris is saying. I think Tuli will be a captain.
Another question from before the show. Oh, my bad.
Real quick, Jack. Tuli is only 19 years old. I know he's been on campus for what seems like 6 years because of his brother being around all the time. Only 19 years old, and the same thing with Kalen Bullock, also young for his age, his grade as well. So two of USC's biggest defensive stars are pretty young guys. And the other end of the spectrum, you got like Tyron Taleni, who's I think 39 or something.
39. Jesus. Jesus Christ.
He's 26. He's 26. But
fun fact: Tuli's birthday will be on the Rice game. So
he'll turn 20.
Yeah.
Nice. He could be a captain on his birthday. I think USC's they're going to do their Trojans live broadcast again, like on Mondays. They could announce captains then. But I think Shotgun's right. We'll probably hear this week. But thanks for that question.
Yeah, before the show again.
Even with a 3:00 game, Tuli still can't go out after the game to celebrate.
He's only 20.
Tuscan Raider 2 before the show. Which coach has impressed you the most so far? I know, Chris, you're there the earliest out of all of us. You're able to see all the coaches come out of the tunnel. So maybe you start on this one. Which coach has been the most impressive?
In terms of size, Sean Nua. In terms of Speaking, or like just being around, probably Alex Grinch for me. I think he's like a classic defensive coordinator, and then you can ask him like one question, and he goes off into this whole diatribe of something, which is like typically how defensive coordinators speak. But I just like listening to him. I like listening to him coach on the field. He's very intense and can be funny sometimes. So I like him, and Brian Odom. I think Brian Odom says a lot. He doesn't BS. He tells you what he wants to tell you, and that's what he tells you. And I like talking to him. He's very like no nonsense about it, and he's got a little personality when you talk to him enough. So I would say Brian Odom and Alex Grinch.
Yeah, those are great ones. I love Tuscan Raider, by the way. That's a great moniker for our questioner. I love that. A couple of new guys I like talking to a lot. Dennis Simmons, the outside wide receivers coach, and Roy Manning is a lot of fun. The Russian coach. So those guys are really. I love their energy when we interview with those guys. It was fun to be able to sit down with some of these guys in the kind of USC Media Day thing, and we got to talk to these guys for like a half an hour straight. So that was cool. But I do love talking to Alex Grinch. He came on our television show. I've bumped into him a couple times out in the South Bay and stuff. Just really good dude. He's someone you're rooting for. You're like, he gets a lot of criticism. You want to see this defense perform well, So he's a good dude. I think if he gets this defense turned around, he's going to get a lot of credit for it, and he deserves it.
So we got another question coming from YouTube from Keith. What guy on the scout team or second or third string do you expect will be a starter by midseason? Coach Lincoln Riley talked about when he was at Oklahoma. Marquise Brown started on the scout team, was one of the best receivers in the FBS by about midseason. So do you think there's any guys like that on USC's roster this year, and who do you think it would be?
I don't know about scout team, but like second team, I would say Lake McCree. It seems like the tight ends have been kind of on the second team mainly. So, and I think Lake has super high potential as like a weapon in this offense, playing that H-back role. So I would go with Mr. Lake McCree. Could be we saw glimpses of what he can do out there on the field late in the season. He's coming off that knee injury, but I would pick number 87.
I like it.
My first thought was Eric Gentry. He's a guy that's worked with, has not been with the ones consistently at least. Seen Raylan Goforth there, Shane Lee. So the fact that the conversation that Brian Odom had about him, how quickly he has absorbed so much stuff, and the knowledge that he's come with, I think he's an interesting potential. And just as he gets more and more kind of used to the middle linebacker spot after playing on the edge last year, I think he's a guy that could come on like that. You got a couple of freshmen that could also be guys that, if they're not starters, they're at least getting more playing time. Damani Jackson, if he stays healthy, Raleek Brown, I think he's going to have at least a package to start with. But how much that develops as the season progresses, that'll be interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, it's funny because I would have said Gentry for sure, but it looked like he's been getting, first team reps. They're talking about him a lot. So it's kind of like you're expecting to see a lot of him already. I don't know if it would be on the offensive line, like a Gino Quinones or someone, if he ends up getting some love, because it's going to be hard because they're
injuries.
They're probably
if he's starting. I think something's happened.
Now, Josh Henson did talk about maybe doing a rotation, and you might see one at like left tackle. I don't know if they're going to break into any of the other guys that do that, but I think Gentry's a good one, and could end up being one of the wide receivers. Like you could have said, like a Kyle Ford, but he's been out for a little while. I like Terrell Bynum a lot, and we haven't heard too much about him. Maybe someone like that, but you're probably going to see a lot of receivers play. So there's a good option there. And then like a Darwin Barlow, I think he's someone that when we talk to Kyle McDonald, a lot of love for the former TCU running back. So that'd be interesting to see. I think there's a lot of potential for that. We'll see. I don't know about scout team guys, but certainly some guys that maybe aren't in the listed as starters already.
One more guy. How about the former number one player in the country, Corey Foreman?
Yeah.
Didn't practice much in camp, just now getting back. Now, he could end up starting on Saturday. We don't know. We'll see where Romello Height is after he's been banged up as well. But just the fact that Corey Foreman hasn't been able to practice the entire fall camp, he's a guy that when he gets on the field could take big steps really quickly if he's out there and able to practice and play full speed going forward.
Hey, Solo was in pads. Solomon Tuialapupu. Ooh, that could be a good one. I mean, he hasn't been around in a while. I think he would count as coming from out of nowhere since he's a fan favorite. We just haven't seen him do very much. So if he came out and had a big year by the middle of the season, the fans would be very happy about that.
We have another question from Kevin on YouTube. Do you expect anyone to redshirt? And then another follow-up, any non-freshmen? We really haven't heard, I don't think, a whole lot about this yet, so I'm anxious to hear your guys' opinions about this.
He said any freshman redshirt or non-freshman?
First of all, do you expect anyone to redshirt? And then a follow-up question, are there any non-freshmen that you expect?
I always expect someone to redshirt.
Yeah. I don't know who.
There's a ton of guys. I mean, there's guys who will get playing time. You know, they have that 4-game cap, so there'll be guys who get that. But I expect, I mean, it's not a huge high school class, but I do expect some guys that will need the red shirt. As far as non-freshman guys, off the top of my head, I don't really have anyone for you.
If you pull up, here's the one thing if you want to look at the numbers. So you can check out our scholarship distribution chart for 2022. There's 10 seniors I have listed, 10 juniors, 40 sophomores, and then 21 freshmen. And those include red shirts. And this is just based off of, that 40 number is because of the COVID year. Everyone kind of got mashed together. The class of 2020, 2021 end up being one. So guys are in that group, like a Jake Jensen, I don't believe he uses red shirt. He could red shirt. I think you'd like to try to red shirt a bunch of those sophomores if you can. So when they move over to juniors, a lot of those guys stay. You don't want 40 juniors and stuff on the team. Now, there's some guys like a Michael Jackson or, I don't think a Mario Williams is going to do that. Some of the offensive linemen like an Andrew Millick, he could do. I don't think you're going to see Cortland Ford or Jonah Monheim redshirt. A Jamar Sakona, he could potentially redshirt. I don't think you're going to see Romello Height or Corey Foreman. Chris Thompson Jr., if he's injured, if he's not able to go, someone like that. Rajon Davis could potentially, he's probably going to play a bunch on special teams. Jacoby Covington, Josh Jackson, Jalen Smith are all true sophomores. And then Xavier Alford, Kalen Bullock, and Latrell McCutcheon. So if a few of those guys aren't going to play, they get injured, they can redshirt and then kind of be held back for that and stay sophomores. It would help. They got to break up that 40 number somehow. So of non-freshmen, I would think you're going to look for the sophomore class. And some of those guys will, if they're not going to play, maybe you hold them out of special teams and just give them a redshirt year.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, Ryan, having that big block, because remember, there's a number of those guys that are if you've been in college for 2 years, then you have the extra year already from 2020 as well. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. Some of those guys you mentioned technically would have redshirted 2020.
Yes.
Jamar Sakona was not playing much in 2020, but he doesn't technically have a red shirt but he is I label him a third-year sophomore this year. This is his third year, and he's only played a couple games that first year. He technically he hasn't used his red shirt, but he has the extra year of the 2020. So, I think that 2020 throws it off a little bit. So just, you got to keep that in mind. That's part of the reason why that class is so big, I think.
Yeah.
Another question coming from Ruben on YouTube. We've been talking about the wide receivers a lot. His question is, which running back impresses on Saturday, and do you expect anyone to go over 100 yards?
I go Dye. I think Travis Dye, and I think he does.
Right. I think they'll all get touches. And, I've talked about this a little bit. Maybe we'll have a little Raleek Brown, Stephen Carr, freshman year, first game moment.
Ooh.
Rips off a 50-yard run, 60-yard run, something like that. Maybe a game day prediction for me. I don't know. Maybe those are coming back
Looking forward
soon.
to your predictions.
We'll have the 10 bold predictions for the season coming out this week, my annual one. So, and then obviously I do 5 every game day.
Yeah.
I'm getting the 5 for 5 this year, Ryan.
You're going to get 5
I'm getting it done.
I like to see you get off the 1 or 0. You're going to get 2 or 3. I'd be impressed. It's tough. He makes
I've gone 0 I've gone 4.
You got 4. You just haven't.
I've gone 3. I've never run the full gambit. I've never
You haven't got all
5
5.
for 5.
Have you done 1? You've probably done 1 before.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Do the predictions come with the baked goods on Saturday?
Ooh.
That'll be a bonus prediction. I will win.
Okay.
The bake off.
I literally have not even looked at a recipe to make these.
Look,
cupcakes.
I don't want to hear where I didn't do it and have time. I'm showing
No,
up.
no.
I'm showing up.
I'm
so
going to
you
show
better,
up,
if
but
you
I
show
have
up, I
done.
win. By
I'm like
default.
showing up for my NFL fantasy draft without like looking at anything. I'm not going to pick a kicker in the first round or anything, but I'm just saying I haven't prepped and I expect to win. So we'll see what happens.
A lot like how you said USC is getting a lot of hype without playing a game yet so far. Ryan, you're the only one with a prediction for victory in the bake-off. You're leading Chris 1-0. Someone said that your barbecue skills are going to come in handy and you'll figure out baking on that day. Another question is on YouTube coming from Larry is, do you think this team will have an edge or a nasty disposition about them?
I think there'll be some sort of like chip, especially coming from the guys who were on the team last year. They took a lot of crap last year and a lot of blowouts, a lot of losses, and I think obviously a lot of them are just excited for the newness of Lincoln Riley and this team. So I think there will be sort of this little bit of an edge, given the disrespect and all the stuff they went through last season. 4-8, a lot of blowout losses at home in the Coliseum. I think so. Guys that were on the team last year, I think they'll be playing with a little bit more oomph. Given that a lot of them are here for their last ride. They want to go out, like a Nick Figueroa, Andrew Voorhees, Brett Nealon, guys like that. I think they'll play with a little bit of an extra something.
I think they'll score a bunch of points. That'll just be kind of like just with some swagger. I think you're going to see a little nastiness on the defensive side of the ball. I think they want to get aggressive. They want to force negative plays, force some turnovers. I think, I don't think Lincoln Riley will be upset if you get an aggression penalty, things like that. So, yeah, I think you're going to see more of that on the defensive side.
So there's another question. I think this one, maybe Chris goes with your bold predictions. Does SC have someone big to run out of the tunnel? If so, who do you think it'll be? I don't think it's been announced so far, so maybe a bold prediction?
Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny.
No, I
Sure.
don't. Bad Bunny. No, I don't know. I'm assuming it's gonna be a former player. Maybe Carson Palmer.
That would be an interesting one.
I don't know if you heard it. If it happens, you're welcome. I made it happen. Carson Palmer, I think. People have been talking about him. This it'll be the re-debut of the number 3. So maybe I don't know. Maybe
I think that's a really good guess. I was at an event, like a USC Marshall event, that John Walker was. He's part of the Marshall School of Business board, and they had a bunch of guys from that national championship team. I didn't talk to any of them about it, but I think Carson Palmer would be a great choice for something like that.
I thought you were talking about Bad Bunny.
No, it wasn't. He wasn't there. Bad Bunny wasn't there.
Shotgun?
Yeah.
I think that Carson is a great choice. You could go with another number 3 as well. Maybe a Keyshawn Johnson or Curtis Conway.
Oh, I like that.
That
I know someone
has a pretty good legacy as well.
People talk about Reggie Bush. Yeah, so Reggie's working, so he can't run out of the tunnel. He's working because he's like on the studio show. So I don't know where they're doing the first Fox Big Noon
Kickoff.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're doing that, but yeah, it's going to be tough for Reggie to do that unless he's doing a USC game. Then it could potentially do it.
I wonder if Keyshawn would then also be working too for ESPN. I don't know what his college football responsibilities are for this season, but also I know that he's in Los Angeles doing work for ESPN now, not New York like he has been in past seasons. So it'd be pretty cool if they could bring him out at some point this year. Another question from Brandon. I mean, keeping it on the subject of ESPN, you guys watch College Game Day. Lee Corso predicted Caleb Williams to win the Heisman. What do you guys think about that prediction?
Also, Lee Corso's
he struggled busting.
He struggled busting.
I love Lee Corso.
Yeah.
It's time to shut down the Lee Corso pick train, whatever.
It sucks because he's been a staple on that show. We had there was a brilliant post on the Peristyle that the guy they were criticizing. He said that the College Game Day format needs to get some sort of enema or something. I forget what it was. Like, holy cow, like a rework. And I love Corso. I don't know. I'm not going to put a lot of stock in his predictions. He's there because he's just such a presence. But it was hard to listen, to him because he's kind of struggling with it, which sucks because I love the guy, but I don't know.
But it's certainly a viable thing. It's a real world thing that can happen. Caleb Williams is a legit Heisman contender.
I mean, he's like top third or fourth.
Top
Vegas
easily
odds.
top 5,
yeah.
top 3. So it's a legit prediction to make. So we're gonna see. But yeah, Lee Corso.
It's a rough one. It was rough.
Rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
I preferred his predictions to Desmond Howard's. I mean, if your prediction comes true and West Virginia beats Pitt this week, there goes down one of Desmond Howard's 4 college football playoff teams. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he had Pitt as the 4 seed in the playoff and beating Clemson to win the ACC.
Narduzzi.
4 seed in the playoff.
Narduzzi paid him.
Losing
with Texas A&M and I believe Michigan was the other one. So
and Baylor.
I don't think Michigan's going to be as good. Oh, was it Baylor? Oh, so I don't think so. But hey,
wow,
it's fun. The thing is, if you're on a show and you're on a show that has the same format as Ryan just said, it's been the same for 20 years. Why not mix up your predictions? Because it's been the same teams forever.
And it probably will be. That's the problem.
You shouted into the abyss.
But you're talking about, you lose Mark Whipple, right? You lose Pickett, the first-round quarterback.
Mark Whipple not having a great week 1, I'll tell you that.
No, he did not have a great week going to Nebraska. And you lose the Bolitnikov Award winner from last year. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, it's just like, oh, you lost all these dudes, and then you're going to get better? Like, that's a tough one for me to swallow.
Mark Whipple calling his top receiver in Nebraska a bigger, faster, stronger Jordan Addison. And they brought that up on the broadcast, and the very next play, he drops it.
Oh, geez.
That's an unfair label to put on a kid.
Right.
It should be noted that Jordan Addison had some drop issues last year at Pittsburgh as well.
Yeah, but he won the Bolitnikov, so.
When you get targeted 144 times.
Yeah, that was the thing people would say about Drake. Like, does he drop the ball too much? Like, no, because you throw him 190 balls. You're going to drop a few.
Or you could be Michael Pittman and drop like 2 in your career.
True.
You got fed a lot of passes too. So
yeah,
it comes down to a concentration when you get the ball thrown to you 14 times in a game, especially when you're looking for that hit on some of those quick passes. So that's what happens with some of those. But I'm just saying, Jordan Addison did have some drops last year. But the fact that you're hyping up your guy as a bigger, faster guy that just went out and had, 17 touchdowns and almost 1,500 yards, that's the part that makes you go, what? Excuse me, sir? Excuse me.
The most you can
Maybe
say is
that's why
I see a
Narduzzi
little.
was so mad.
The most you can say is I see a little bit of Jordan Addison in him. That's like the most. Don't call him a bigger, stronger, whatever of this person. That's way too much. Way too much expectations.
It's like I hate when draft prospects are coming out and people have like a draft comparison. They're comparing him to a Hall of Famer, but that's like going as far to say like he's going to be better than a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't quite agree with that. But on the Desmond Howard thing, it definitely seems hard to believe that you're going to have a 4-team college football playoff and you're not going to have one of Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, like any of those 4, a completely new slate of 4 teams. I guess he probably was upset that he missed out on the one year that Michigan did make the playoffs. I don't think he predicted Michigan to go. And put him in there this year being from Michigan, but that's a tough 4-team prediction.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to go like people that haven't made it, like Texas A&M, they get this #1 recruiting class. You could say they make a jump. They beat Alabama last year. People are saying USC just because the Pac-12 is not that tough. And, I get those. Like Pitt, it seems like they're going to take a step back. Like I wouldn't predict them. No, that's a weird one, but whatever. But it's almost
we'll see.
a quarter after. Maybe we can rapid fire some of these.
I think we went through most of the questions that were on, unless people want to throw in some last couple.
I got DM'd one.
Okay.
But it's specifically for me.
Okay.
That I want to ask about it.
Perfect.
Are you taking over the show today because you won't be here on Thursday?
Yeah. He actually just re-DM'd to me and said, looking forward to this question on the show. So shout out to Andy who DM'd me. Hey, Chris, I was hoping you could answer a question during Tunnel Vision tonight. Here we are. I know you're a member of the Turtley Turtle Club for life, and I respect that 100. I'm sure he's referring to Maryland, University of Maryland Terrapins. That being said, have you developed any Stockholm Syndrome or a sweet spot for USC football from working at uscfootball.com and 24/7 Sports? Thanks. Interesting question, and I'm sure I might upset people, but I am not a USC fan. I am a unique perspective because I did not go to USC. I think most people that have covered the team went to USC. I am an outsider. I am a far-out outsider, and while I'm not a fan of the team, I do obviously hold a certain respect for the team, and I like covering the team. I know a lot of people on the team, with guys I covered in high school, so I do have this utmost respect for them. And the only thing I really root for is having a fun team to cover. That's really what I care about, having a a exciting team to cover, a fun team to cover, and get to go cool places like Cotton Bowl or Rose Bowl or things like that. So that's kind of what I root for, and having a enjoyable work experience, covering a fun team. So if you want to interpret that as like I'm rooting for USC to win, that's not what I'm saying. But if you want to interpret it that way, for sure. And I feel like I do come off as like a fan on Twitter because I beat up on trolls a lot. But that's just me like wanting to dunk on people like with things I know. Like if you want to come and argue, I'm not gonna like sit there and go to bat and I'm not going to agree with you when you say USC is not a blue blood, because that's not true. Right. Or you want to trash a new commitment, I'm going to trash you right back. I don't care, but it's not. I guess I am sticking up for USC in a way, but I'm not doing it from a fan perspective. I'm just doing it for someone who covers a team and knows a lot about the team that I've covered for the last 6 years or so. So that's kind of what that's my perspective on it.
Keeping it real, love it.
And he just responded, respect that 100%. So shout out to Andy. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Shouty, you want to do a quick
Someone else said, how do you hire someone who's not a USC fan? It's our job, guys.
Yeah.
We're not here to be fanboys. We're here to bring you information, give you information about the team, not to be fans of the team. I went to USC, Ryan went to USC, but I would not say that either of us are fans of the team.
Yeah, we're covering recruiting. Like, you're not out there like, come on, dude, you got to come. Like, that's an NCAA violation. Like, that's the one thing that people kind of don't get as much. And even when I first started doing this, they would get me like USC gear and things. It's like, when you move to the media side of things, you have a press credential, you sign all this. USC makes you sign all this stuff that you're not a booster, and like all those things you got to do. You can't be. We're not there cheering on the team in the press box if they get a first down or anything like that. We want to cover the team and give you guys the best information possible. So you have to kind of separate yourself from fandom. The reason I started USCFootball.com is because I'm a big fan of USC football. I went there, got my undergrad master's there. That's why I started. But then once we started being in the media, and it was a whole different story. Then it was like, okay, this is not just a hobby that I'm just writing about the team for fun. This is like you're actually doing it as a job. And so to do it right, like we're not out there like cheering people on. I know some people don't want to hear that, but that's just the way it is. And if you can't do that. If I went to a high school game and I was asking some kid about telling him why he should be going to USC, that's an NCAA violation. Like, you can't do that stuff. So we don't want to be part of the recruiting process. We're just reporting on everything that's going on and trying to give you a objective perspective on what we see, what we hear, the sources we talk to, and all that, to give you guys better. Then you could be as fans. We want you guys to be fans. We're trying to give you all the information that you could be the best fan possible.
All right, so should we go to rapid fire now?
Yeah, we got to do quick rapid fire. We'll do a few minutes of that.
All right, GLBC, outside of Thule on the defense line, who do you see on our D line breaking out? We'll direct this one to you, Senior Sack.
Okay. Dejon Ben kind of coming on here, as a guy who we don't really know what it's going to look like when he's out there on full snaps on Saturday. And I think he's going to have, obviously, a big part of the rotation. Looks like he's geared up to be a starter. So I would say Dejon Benton kind of breaking out. Number 79, had a big fourth down stop against Colorado last year. That's when I first talked to him. But I think we'll be interviewing him a lot more this season. So
I'll go Brandon Peely.
Slim down Brandon Peely.
Yeah.
I hope so for Brandon Peely's sake, just because of what he's went through the last couple of years. So we'll see if that happens. This is going to be directed at the old man and the young buck. Jackson Miller asked, what are you most looking forward to this season? I think we'll get the opposite spectrum perspectives.
For me, I'll start the old man first. I assume that's me. Yes. I mean, it's really just seeing like what we get to see the players. We get to see them warming up. We got to see the spring game, but we didn't get to see. It's like you've seen the ingredients. We just haven't seen the final product, right? People wanted some food analogies.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone's like, I'm worried about Ryan Abraham.
We've opened the box. It's like, there's
chopped.
There's a lot. It's like chopped, but instead of having like, chicken livers and sweet tarts, they're like, oh, we actually have like filet mignon.
And it's Hello Fresh.
It's well, but it's not like pre-pro. Like there's like, oh, this is like fresh asparagus. We're gonna have some. We can steam some clams. Like all the ingredients look really freaking good, but we got to see what the dish looks like. You got to put it together. But you're not starting with crap. It's not like licorice and whatever. Like you have good ingredients. So what does it look like? That's what I want to see. I want to see what this product looks like on the field when you put it all together.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the chopped. It's the chopped version when they have the like gold flake in there and the rare caviar and like that, where they're like, all right, we'll see what you can do with super expensive stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited to. I think you're right. I'm excited to see the product, but also see something new. We've heard all about what this offense could look like, and I'm excited to see it on the field. I see the ideas that Lincoln Riley has to put out onto the gridiron. It's been a long time since USC had a running quarterback as well. I think I'm really excited to see Caleb Williams and what he can do to just make this offense look a little bit newer than we've seen the past couple seasons, even going back to Sam Darnold and Keaton Slovis and Jackson Dart at the end of last year, and just see what the offense can look like with someone as dynamic as Caleb Williams, which we haven't had in a while, and Lincoln Riley's new philosophies that we've heard about but haven't seen on the field quite yet.
I just want to say that question should have been addressed to Ryan as the old volleyball dude.
Oh, yes.
For anybody who watched
it.
All-American.
Go watch All-American on Netflix. What season 4?
Whatever the
I
last,
forget what
the latest,
episode it
like
was.
4 or something, like 5 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Superluminal asks, do you think Lincoln Riley sees similarities between Max Williams and a former safety he had at Oklahoma, Bookie Radley Hiles, who is from Calabasas or from Pasadena, played at Calabasas, since both of them are undersized safeties? And I can answer this having seen both of those guys play. I think there's a little bit of difference. I think Max Williams is a more, just be in the right place at all times, and he just makes plays, whereas Bookie was much more of an aggressive player that would take chances and go for the interception, try to make that big play. So a little bit different in their thought process of how they play the position. But I guess you could see the similar body types. Chris, quick chime in. You agree with that?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I always say Bookie's also has a lot more athleticism than Max has to rely on. But Max's football IQ is just off the charts. And That's kind of what you mentioned, just like always in the right place at the right time. So I think that's the kind of biggest fundamental difference.
Ron Dacko want to know, why hasn't Dante Williams been interviewed throughout the fall practice? Ryan interviewed him this past week, I believe.
Yeah, I think I did. It was this last week. So we did. Last time we could talk to a defensive player coach, we talked to Dante Williams. I like talking to Dante. I mean, there's always unique perspectives to be had, but having the only coach that was on the team last year, you can always get something interesting. So, yeah.
An interim coach at that.
He was an interim head coach,
Maybe we just don't like talking to him because he reminds us of a dark season.
We were doing a podcast last week, and Chris was listening to some kind of soundbite, and literally it was a Clay Helton soundbite, and there was sort of like this reaction. I was like, "Wait, what was that?" Like it's just like, "Oh my god!" I just haven't had to hear that for a while.
Shotgun, you know what clip it was?
The one that I was supposed to look for you?
No, it was the elephant head.
Jay Toya. Whenever you tell a kid that he has a massive elephant head, then sometimes transfers.
Then he transfers out.
I rewatching the clip. It was like he was gonna say something nice about Jay Toya, but then his brain took over and just said the first thing that popped into. He's like, "That guy's got the biggest head I've ever seen. It's like an elephant head." And I was like, "Oh no, no, what are you doing?"
Then he transfers.
Oh no, what are you doing?
Vicky asked who could be a sleeper on defense this year, which kind of translates to that Jay Toya was a guy we thought last year could have.
Yeah.
Coming out of the spring.
Examarion Gordon, X-Man, is a guy who's, looks like he's taking a step in his game. He's talked about how he shed a lot of weight. I think he was 202 when he came in. He's 190, feels a lot lighter. He's got some run with the first team when guys have been hurt. Lincoln Riley shouted him out for his growth from spring to fall. So I'll say the X-Man as a guy, just kind of a sleeper secondary guy, because they're going to run a lot of safeties, so we'll see that.
I like it.
I'm going to go Sierra Wright at the cornerback position. I think there's a lot of room for cornerbacks to get in there, get some playing time, and another one of those guys that Lincoln's had a great fall camp. Sierra Wright looking up.
Cool.
I don't know if Mekhi Blackman has gotten enough press to be considered a sleeper or not, but I think he's going to be a dude this year for USC. Similar to, since you brought up the kind of the feel of that clip, Ryan, Trunks asked, are you guys excited to stop answering Clay Helton questions?
Or ask Clay Helton questions?
Answer questions.
Yes. Oh my God. That was one of the that was one of the best parts of well, first of all, I mean, you never want to root for anyone to get fired. I've said many times, Clay Helton's a nice bit, always been a good dude to me. But once that ended, we still got Clay Helton questions a bunch because people just didn't know what else to do. But it's nice that they've pretty much gone away. And then someone will still bring something up every once in a while. And a lot of people will be like, we don't want to hear about that anymore.
This one right now.
Like this one, yeah. We still like, but
Shotgun,
that's okay.
Shotgun, you remember on the Family Feud, we would get at least one "when is Clay Helton going to be fired?" question. I'd be like, I've answered this. Like,
And then after he was fired, they kept bringing stuff up like, you've already fired him. Like there's not like, you can't, like they wanted like, we got to fire him, and he was like fired like 3 games in, and like the team's struggling, and they're still talking about it like that already happened. Like now you got to move forward. Like he's gone.
There's no truth to the rumor that there's a bill being passed in the California state government that they'll rename Stockholm syndrome the Clay Helton.
Yeah.
There's no truth to that.
it'll be big horsey syndrome.
Couple questions about starters. Will Alex Stadhouse start as kicker? I believe so. Who will start at linebacker? I think this is one of the more intriguing questions because I think it's still a 3-man competition. You guys could probably say better of who's getting those 1 reps the little bit you're seeing. But I feel like there's still 3 guys in the battle there, and I don't know that it's settled from the conversations the coaches have given us.
We might see 3 linebackers on the field, right? I think.
Yeah, they've
Shane
sort of
Lee.
experimented with sort of 3-man looks at linebacker, which is interesting. So it kind of fits this 3-man battle you mentioned with Shane Lee, Raylan Goforth, and Eric Gentry. I don't know if the 3-man thing will be a thing they do all season. Probably not. But it sounds like it's sort of like a 3-headed Hydra, if you will. But I would assume Eric Gentry would at some point kind of take over one of those spots with Shane Lee. But, Raylan's had a really strong offseason, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there's like real buzz behind the scenes about Eric Gentry. Like people are excited about him. So just sources you talk to, it's just like that name comes up a lot. When we do interviews, it comes up a lot. There's a reason for that. When there's smoke, there's usually fire. So you're going to see Eric Gentry play a bunch.
Shotgun, I've got one.
You're going to hear him on the broadcast also because he's super tall. Remember when Brock Osweiler, he's a 6'9" quarterback, 6'9" quarterback, over and over, whatever it was, 6'8", whatever he was. He's a 6'6" linebacker. You're going to hear it ad nauseum whenever he makes any play in a game.
Someone had a comment, I think, on YouTube. They thought there would be a good nickname like Spaghetti and Meatball or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I saw it earlier.
They asked if Shane Lee and Eric Gentry had a nickname yet, and they said Spaghetti and Meatball.
Yeah, pretty good one. So
put some respect on Shane Lee. He's no meatball.
Compared to Eric Gentry, he is.
Shotgun, I saw a fun.
Oh,
sorry, USC already had a meatball on their team previously. That was Liam Douglas's nickname from, I believe, the Aaron Osmond's staff.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with no. And he's also at UCLA now, in case anyone was wondering.
Nice.
Shotgun, I saw another fun question about which former USC wide receiver do you think will have the best season in the NFL? And this could be, one of the best USC to the NFL wide receiver seasons we've seen. And you could make a strong argument that there are 5 wide receiver ones in the NFL that came out of USC. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit, Drake London this year in Atlanta, Michael Pittman in Indianapolis, Robert Woods in Tennessee, and Juju Smith-Schuster out in Kansas City. I'm putting my money on Michael Pittman in pretty much every fantasy pick I have too. But you could argue that there's 5 of the 30 wide receiver ones in the NFL came out of the University of Southern California.
Give me St. Brown.
I think I'd go St. Brown too.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys know I'm going with Drake as a Falcons fan.
You got to go to Drake.
I'm hoping that I'm wishing that into existence.
I think if we had odds, Pittman would have the best odds. So I think.
I think it's because he's not having Jared Goff and Marcus Mariota throw him the ball.
Right. Yeah. But
we'll Matt, so we'll see. There's a difference though. Juju has Patrick Mahomes. So
that's very true.
Brian McCall asked, Shotgun, what's the Robinson baseball news? That would be Deuce Robinson, the dual sport athlete out of Pinnacle in Phoenix. He literally looks like Aaron Judge 2.0 on the diamond. The better comparison there is actually Giancarlo Stanton, the former Mike Stanton, who was at Sherman Oaks, Notre Dame, was a USC football. I don't know if he was ever a commit. He was definitely a target, and if he would have went the football route, USC was the likely choice for him. So that is the more apt, I believe, comparison there. But I wrote a big story on Deuce this past week, I believe it was, and talking about what he hopes will be the decision he creates. He wants to create a decision for himself. The kid already has a decision to make about commitment and all this stuff. He wants to create a decision on MLB draft day as to whether to tell teams, don't bother, I'm going to whatever school I'm picking, or if you give me enough money, then I'll come and, sign to play professional baseball now. So that's what he's hoping to do. He's had a really, really good summer. He's still a raw athlete. I've talked with a bunch of college baseball coaches, as well as some people on the scouting side, and there's still questions about where he will be at when the draft comes around next July. If he puts in the entire spring, early summer next year, focuses straight on baseball, he could be a guy that develops enough that a team says, I love the tools, I love what he can do, we can coach him up, and he'll be a guy that goes early enough. But right now, he would not be a guy that would be drafted high enough to be paid what you would want, what he would want to not go to college for football. So that's kind of where he is right now. We'll see how that develops as it goes on. He's going to, start football, obviously, and then he's putting baseball on the back burner. He said, basically, hey, I'll try to get over to the baseball field whenever I can in between games and stuff during football season. But then he hopes to play his entire senior season for baseball as well in the spring, but that'll be the first time. So it's hard to make that bouncing back and forth, and especially baseball, seeing, elite pitching if you are. So that's the big question for him, hitting all speed pitches, all that type of stuff.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. Another good show. Sorry for the glad we got to hear from Michael Jones at the top of the hour, top of the show. Sorry, there were some technical difficulties getting that in there, but you got to hear from him. We got to you get to see us scrambling while
He
we're
didn't
trying
hear
to.
us, but we heard from him.
Yeah, he couldn't hear us. You get to hear us scrambling, trying to pause for time as we were trying to fix technical difficulties on the fly. But that's
Send
what
me
we
your
do.
best memes.
Yeah, we got some good memes for that one. But that'll wrap things up. Make sure you're going to come back. You guys can all come back. Please hit the subscribe button on any of the platforms we're on. We'll be back on all 3 platforms Thursday night. Shotgun will be in town, so he'll be right here in the studio. So I think, Jack, you're going to be here too, right? You can make it. Yeah. So me, Jack, and Shotgun will do a preview of USC versus Rice, and we'll take a bunch of questions. Forgot to do the live callers because we were trying to set up Michael on this one, so we'll try to get the live callers again next time on Thursday. So if you're for that, and then enjoy the Rice game. Hopefully you can come out to our tailgate at uscfootball.com. Check out our Twitter feeds and uscfootball.com for more information on our tailgate party. Should be a lot of fun. And then we'll see you Sunday night here on Tunnel Vision, recapping what we're expecting to be some kind of a blowout win over the Rice Owls. So if we're going to sign off there, we got Shotgun Spratling, Chris Trevino, Jack Smith doing a great job producing the show and hosting. So thank you all for tuning in to Tunnel Vision, and we will talk to you next time.
Like and subscribe.